new minimum is bigger than the old maximum, right? The old max, which was like $250,000, the new super max is $1.4 million. And when you have a free agency period coming up where over 100 players are free agents, these new contracts are about to get, thrown around like Oprah hands out cars. So congratulations to the WNBA players on that raise. And it affects the pay of everybody because things get scaled up. But there are specific players in particular who it could increase.
The ink isn't even dry, and the Indiana Fever's dynasty might be dead before it even starts. The WNBA just dropped a financial nuclear bomb that changes everything for Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston. While fans were celebrating a massive pay raise for the players, the front office was likely staring at a spreadsheet in pure horror. They thought they had years of cheap labor to build a super team around the league's biggest stars. Instead, a hidden clause in the new collective bargaining agreement just put a countdown clock on this roster. The bargain era of Caitlin Clark is officially over, and the fallout is going to be absolutely brutal for the fans in Indiana.
These new contracts are about to get, thrown around like Oprah hands out cars. So congratulations to the WNBA players on that raise. And it affects the pay of everybody because things get scaled up. But there are specific players in particular who it could increase their pay significantly much more quickly. That includes Caitlin Clark. And when you look at the Indiana Fever, right? When you look at the Indiana Fever, basically it's going to get much more difficult for the Fever to just fit everybody under the salary cap. Now, the salary cap is higher.
We aren't talking about a small cost of living adjustment here. We are talking about a total economic takeover. The word being used behind the scenes is transformative, but for team builders, it's a logistical nightmare. Imagine a world where the new minimum salary for a rookie is actually higher than the old league maximum. It's like the entire economy of the WNBA just hit fast forward by 20 years overnight. Contracts are about to be handed out like Oprah handing out cars. And while the players are popping champagne, the Indiana Fever are realizing they might have to fire the valet just to keep the lights on.
You look at the Indiana Fever, right? When you look at the Indiana Fever, basically it's going to get much more difficult for the Fever to just fit everybody under the salary cap. Now, the salary cap is higher than it was first projected at. It's like $7 million for the first year. And I confirmed this with a source with knowledge of the situation yesterday. The max deals can come quicker for players who get to all WNBA honors on their rookie deals. So that includes Aliyah Boston and it includes Caitlin Clark. So AB is max.
Let's look at the raw numbers, because they are genuinely terrifying if you're a general manager. The old Supermax was capped around $250,000, which seems like pocket change. Now, under this new deal, that number is skyrocketing to a staggering $1.4 million. That's a nearly six-fold increase in what a top-tier player can demand. When you have over 100 players hitting free agency at the exact same time, the market isn't just going to be hot, it's going to be a frenzy. Every single player is looking at that $1.4 million figure and wondering how close they can get to it. And that's where the trouble begins for Indiana.
When the Fever had her under a rookie contract, they had Clark and Boston under rookie contracts. Their advantage is that they're not free agents, that those two are locked up. But now Boston is max eligible this year. Caitlin Clark, max eligible next year. On top of that, the rookie scale contract is higher than it was before, so Clark is getting a raise in the meantime. That's with Kelsey Mitchell wanting a max salary, you would assume, on the market at this period of time, and Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull as free agents who are going to want well above the average salary. Can the Fever make all of that fit with the math? That's, part of.
The Indiana Fever are currently victims of their own incredible success, and it's a situation no one saw coming this fast. Usually, having two back-to-back superstars like Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark on rookie deals is the ultimate cheat code for winning championships. You get elite production for pennies on the dollar, allowing you to stack the rest of the roster with veterans. But the WNBA just rewrote the rules on how fast those rookies can get paid, because Clark and Boston both secured all WNBA honors so early. They aren't just stars, they are now officially max-eligible years ahead of schedule.
The max salary jumps to over $1 million. Kelsey Mitchell had the highest base salary amongst players last year. Like I said, $250K. The super max is 1.4. I think the max is roughly 1.3. The average salary goes up 5 times. So from 120,000 to 600,000. So, just the average player that you're fitting under your cap. And then the minimum salary, I think it's 270 for rookies and about 300 for vets, up from 66,000. So that makes things, you have to look at the entire situation and what players wind up getting and where the market is, of course. It's not.
Aliyah Boston is the first domino that's about to fall, and it's going to hit the cap like a freight train. Under the old rules, the Fever could have kept her on a team-friendly rookie scale for a while longer. But thanks to her elite performance and the new CBA tweaks, she is max eligible right now. We are talking about a jump from a modest rookie salary to a deal worth roughly $1.3 million per year. That one signature instantly swallows a massive chunk of the Fever's available cash. It's the price of greatness, but it's a price that has to be paid much sooner than the front office originally budgeted for.
Clark situation specifically for her, she made 78 grand and change in 2025. That number is going to jump to 530 in 2026. So much closer to the average salary. Still a bargain deal, still an absolute bargain deal. But she gets to the max of 1.3 million in 2027. And then the super max in 2028. But that's with Boston hitting max eligibility right now, right? Like max eligibility right now. So, I mean, you just do that math, right? So you take Boston at 1.3, and then let's say it's Kelsey at 1.
Then there is the Caitlin Clark situation, which is even more explosive. In 2025, she's set to make about $78,000, which is frankly one of the biggest steals in sports history given the revenue she generates. But enjoy that bargain while it lasts, because by 2026, that number is projected to leap to over $530,000. And it doesn't stop there. By 2027, she hits that $1.3 million max. By 2028, she's looking at a $1.4 million supermax. In just a few short years, her salary will have increased by nearly 1,700%. It's a well-deserved raise, but it creates a mathematical black hole for the rest of the team.
Kelsey, Caitlin, and Aliyah would be 3.2 million of cap space. That would leave them at 3.7 to fill out the remaining roster. So if you're Lexi Hull and you're Sophie Cunningham, right? Like those are not average players. They're not max players, but they're not average players. So if the average is right around $600,000, and the max is 1.3, what are you asking for if you're Sophie and Lexi? I would say in the range of 800. That's just my ballpark back of the napkin math, right?
So, let's do some back of the napkin math. That should keep Fever fans up at night. If you pay Aliyah Boston $1.3 million and a veteran like Kelsey Mitchell another $1.3 million, you've already burned through $2.6 million. The projected salary cap is sitting around $7 million for the first year. That means just 2 players are eating up nearly 40% of your entire budget. Now, add Caitlin Clark's impending raise into that mix, plus one more average player, and suddenly half of your entire cap is gone. You still have 8 or 9 more roster spots to fill, and the math simply stops making sense.
On that rookie deal, one of the all WNBA teams. So Caitlin did it in her rookie year. Aliyah did it last year, I think second team, and same thing with Paige. So they're going to be max eligible faster than before, which just changes the math. So it makes it seem like an Indiana Fever thing because their rookies were so good. So what was a tremendous advantage, having Clark and Boston locked up on rookie deals, is now still an advantage because they're not free agents. They're not hitting the market. Though I think a lot of the star players are going to stay where they are, especially the big star players. Asia Wilson has already indicated she's going to sign the Supermax with Las Vegas.
Kelsey Mitchell is the heartbeat of this team's veteran presence, but her future in Indiana just became a massive question mark. Last year, she had the highest base salary on the team at $250,000. In the new market, she is easily worth a max deal. But if the Fever give her that $1.3 million, they are essentially choosing between keeping their veteran leader and being able to afford a functional bench. There's a core player rule that might allow them to finagle things in the short term, but it's a temporary band-aid on a massive wound. The reality is that keeping Mitchell long-term is now significantly more difficult. It's not just the superstars that are getting expensive. It's the essential role players like Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham. These aren't just average players, they are the glue that holds a championship contender together, but as free agents, they are going to want well above the new average salary of $600,000. If they are looking for something in the $800,000 range, the Fever are in deep trouble. If you keep your big three and try to keep even one of these high-level role players, you're looking at $5 million spent on just 4 or 5 people. That leaves you with pennies to fill out a 12-person roster. The sheer scale of these raises is hard to wrap your head around. The average WNBA salary is jumping from $120,000 to a staggering $600,000. While that is incredible for the league's growth, it creates a middle-class squeeze. Every single roster spot you fill with an average player now costs 5 times more than it did a year ago. For a team like Indiana, which is trying to build a deep, versatile squad around Caitlin Clark, this new floor for salaries makes it almost impossible to find those cheap, hidden gems that every championship team needs to survive. For years, the secret to winning in the WNBA was simple: draft a star and enjoy 4 years of a tiny rookie contract. That was the Indiana Fever's entire blueprint. They landed the 2 best prospects in the world and expected to have a massive competitive advantage until at least 2027. But this new CBA effectively killed that strategy by making all WNBA honors a trigger for immediate max eligibility. The league has ensured that superstars get paid their worth almost instantly. The rookie scale is gone for the elite, and Indiana's huge advantage has evaporated in the blink of an eye. Indiana isn't the only team feeling the heat, but they are certainly the most impacted. The only other player currently subject to this specific max eligibility provision is Paige Bueckers. This fast track to the max only applies to rookies who prove they are among the best in the world immediately. Because the Fever were so good at drafting, they are now the only team facing 2 of these massive salary jumps at the same time. It's a bizarre situation where being too good at your job as a scout actually makes it harder to keep your team together. This upcoming free agency period is being described as a total frenzy, and for good reason. With the salary cap expanding and the rules changing, over 100 players are about to hit the open market at once. It's going to be like the Wild West. Teams with cap space are going to be throwing millions at anyone who can shoot a three-pointer. For the Fever, this means they won't just be competing with the salary cap. They'll be competing with every other team in the league that is desperate to lure away their supporting cast with life-changing money. Other teams are already circling like vultures, looking at the Fever's cap situation and waiting for them to blink. Fans have been dreaming of Indiana targeting stars like Ryan Howard or Monique Billings to bolster the roster around Clark. Both players have shown incredible chemistry with Caitlin in the past. But where is that money supposed to come from? With Boston and Clark's salaries set to explode, the dream of adding even more high-level talent feels like a fantasy. Indiana might have to move from being buyers in the market to desperately trying to keep what they already have. Let's look at the roster as a whole. You have to fill 12 spots. If your salary cap is $7 million, that averages out to about $583,000 per player. But remember, the new veteran minimum is around $300,000. If you have 3 stars making $1.3 million each, that's $3.9 million gone. You have $3.1 million left to pay 9 other players. Even if you pay every single one of them the bare minimum, you're already over the cap. The math literally does not work. there is no version of this story where the Indiana Fever keep their current core intact without someone taking a massive pay cut. The big question is whether the Stars will actually stay put. Aya Wilson has already signaled that she's staying in Vegas for the Supermax, and many expect Clark and Boston to remain loyal to Indiana. But loyalty is a lot easier to maintain when the team is winning. If the Fever are forced to surround their two superstars with a roster of league minimum rookies because they can't afford veterans, will Clark and Boston be happy? The pressure on the front office to finagle the numbers is unlike anything we've seen in the history of women's basketball. There is one tiny glimmer of hope for the Fever, and it's hidden in the fine print of the core player rules. There's a chance that Kelsey Mitchell's situation could be grandfathered in, allowing the team some short-term flexibility to navigate this transition, but even that is just a temporary fix. The league is moving toward a model where you simply cannot have 3 or 4 max players on one roster. The super team era might be over before it even really began, forced out of existence by a CBA that prioritizes individual player wealth over team building. Fever fans who are expecting a decade of dominance with this specific group of women need to brace themselves for a reality check. The team you see on the floor right now is likely the most talented version of the Fever we will see for a long time. As the salaries scale up, the depth will inevitably scale down. We are entering an era where having 2 superstars might mean the rest of your bench consists of players you've never heard of. It's a shocking shift for a fan base that finally felt like they had all the pieces of the puzzle in place. This isn't just a minor rule change. It's a whole new ball game, and a completely different landscape for team building. In the old WNBA, you could build through the draft and keep a core together for 6 or 7 years. Now, you might only get 2 or 3 years of affordable play before your rookies become more expensive than your veterans. The window for winning a championship has shrunk significantly. Indiana's front office has to realize that their time is now. Every year they don't win a ring while Clark is still making under $1 million is a wasted opportunity. Why is everyone talking about this today? Because the decisions made in the next few months will determine the next decade of the WNBA. The league is at an inflection point. The money is finally there. The ratings are through the roof, and the players are getting what they deserve. But the unintended consequence is that the parity of the league is about to be tested like never before. If the Indiana Fever can't find a way to fit their stars under the cap, we could see a massive dispersal of talent that changes the power balance of the entire league. The heat is officially on the Fever's management. They have the most popular player in the history of the sport and a generational talent in the paint. If they fail to build a championship roster around them because they couldn't handle the math of the new CBA, it will be one of the biggest failures in sports history. They are currently in a race against time and inflation. Every day they wait to lock in their secondary pieces, the price tag goes up. It's a high-stakes poker game, where the stakes are millions of dollars and the future of a franchise. As we look toward 2026 and 2027, the Indiana Fever will look fundamentally different. The days of having a deep bench of talented veterans are likely over. We are going to see a stars and scrubs model where Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston are expected to carry an incredible load. It's a risky strategy, especially in a league as physical as the WNBA. One injury to a max player could tank an entire season because there simply won't be enough money left to afford a high-quality backup. The future is bright, but it's also incredibly fragile. At the end of the day, the WNBA rewriting its financial future is a massive win for the players, but it's a terrifying wake-up call for the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston are about to become some of the highest-paid women in the history of team sports, but that wealth comes with a heavy price for the team's chemistry. We are watching the evolution of a league in real time, where greatness is rewarded instantly, and dynasties are harder to maintain than ever. The Fever have the stars, but do they have the math to survive?